I just don't know. But this morning we had a high-rise fire at 1212 North Lakeshore Drive. The fire was on the 27th floor and involved a large apartment, actually a very large apartment. The fire initially was still in box, and it was elevated to a 211 for additional help. And then we got a call for a mayday. When we got the call for the mayday, it was elevated to a 311 and an EMS plan 2. Among the many crews responding was Tower Ladder 10, led by Lieutenant John Torek. He was making his way up to the fire floor. They had to take the stairs because the elevators were out. And then he went down. He was with his crews when he did. A mayday was called for help. The crews started treating him right away by doing CPR on the scene and got him back to the lobby where they continued, and ambulance 66 took him and they continued CPR to the hospital along with members. He was brought here to Northwestern, and despite the best efforts, he succumbed to his injuries. Lieutenant Torek, he joined the fire department in 1997. He has been on the job about 26 years, actually. He was born in September of 1967, so that would make him about 55 years old. A little bit about John. He was an active outdoorsman. He was a motorcyclist. He was a Navy veteran. He served in Desert Storm. He liked bicycling. He had a big family, an extended family, and also his family is here as well. His son is a Chicago police officer who's newly on the job as a police officer. I can't tell you how this impacts us losing 2 members in 2 days. As I said yesterday, this job is dangerous. And you never know if you're coming home despite the best training and equipment that we can provide. Please keep his family in your prayers as well as the entire Chicago Fire Department. Thank you.
Well, as Commissioner Nance Holt just said, this is a very difficult time for the Chicago Fire Department and a very difficult time and day for our city. It is unprecedented to lose 2 firefighters in back-to-back days in different circumstances, but each of them responding to the call to serve and responding to the aid of others, people that they didn't know, because that's what the job demands and that's what they've signed up for. I just want to say, on behalf of myself, but also on behalf of the city, and extend our deepest condolences to Lieutenant Torek's family. We had an opportunity to visit with them briefly before we stepped up here today. As you might imagine, they're in shock and the grief is setting in. It's almost unimaginable. Recently met his son at a recent police department graduation as he walked across the stage. And when I go to those graduations, one of the things that I say, whether it's police or fire, is that they are joining a family who walks in their shoes, who understands the life that they have chosen, the calling that they've chosen. But it's also important in moments like this that that family is there to support and help them on this journey of grief. No family wants to go through what the Torek family is now experiencing. But on behalf of our city, as I shared with them, we stand ready to support them in any way possible. President Tracy, I know that you, over the arc of your time and tenure in your career, that you've seen this moment far too often. But I want to also say on behalf of myself and the city that we stand ready to support your members. You know that resources are available, and I call upon all members who need extra support to help them understand and manage their grief, to not hesitate to reach out and take advantage of the services that are available. Our men and women who are first responders in the city are heroic. They are brave. They, every single day, put their lives on the line for us. They deserve our unending thanks and support, not just on a tragic day like this, but every single day. The sacrifices that they make, the sacrifices that their families make, are significant, all in the service of our city. And firemen, like police officers, run towards danger when the rest of us run in the other direction. We can never forget that, and we shouldn't forget the sacrifice that they make every single day. So on behalf of a grateful city, we stand grieving, sending our condolences. We're ready to help support this family and the other families that are in need. I think we were happy to take on-topic questions at this point.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Members of the media, we'll go down the line. One question to the reporter on topic. We'll kick it off with Charlie, NBC.
Thanks, Cesar. This for Commissioner Holt. Was he the only injured lieutenant in the fire, or were there other people who lived in the building who were also injured?
We had 2 civilians that were transported in good condition. And we also had 3 other firefighters that were transported from fair to serious. So
The lieutenant, did he suffer a heart attack? Is that the
we don't know. We'll have to let the medical examiner determine that.
And folks, can I just say, I know that there's going to be a lot of interest and curiosity about what happened. I would just urge, out of respect for the family that is really, really grieving, don't speculate. Don't report rumor and innuendo. We have to respect these families. They are grieving. They deserve to be the first ones to understand what happened to their loved one. So I just urge you, please, show respect.
Dane Fox.
Just to clarify and have some sense of understanding this, was he near the smoke or the fire? Was he kind of flicking position or the fire?
He was headed up to the fire. He was on the 11th floor. The fire was on the 27th floor.
And when you have, I mean, this is 2 tragedies in successive days. Does this prompt any kind of view of any sort, policy, procedures, or is it just looked at as a just awful coincidence?
I mean, these are 2 different tragedies, yet 2 families impacted, including the Chicago Fire Department. I think we train every day to do our very best. Unfortunately, sometimes when you get to situations, fires are unpredictable. You can't figure out what's going to happen at a fire. So I don't think to Monday morning quarterback right now is it. I think we need to get through this right now. I have 2 funerals to prepare for, 2 grieving families, and a huge department that's broken, including the command staff.
Christopher, ABC. Ma'am, can you say and spell the firefighter's first and last name?
Actually, it's spelled Jan, Jan, and they don't pronounce it that way. And what I have is ThohorYk.
CH.
You got it? This was on
I'm sorry. Yeah, we can give that to you after this.
Right.
That's
Okay.
You guys do so much for our city every single day, and much of it goes unappreciated. How can our city return the favor in this time of mourning and grief?
Let me say first, pray for the families. Pray for the firefighters and paramedics. Because the things, they worked on their own co-workers. They're devastated. My command staff, devastated. And actually, too, when you see firefighters and paramedics, thank them, and police officers, thank them for what they do every day, because they risk their lives not knowing if they will come home. And we've seen that in 2 days now. 2 days we've seen families broken, and those members will never return home to those families.
Stefano,
Can you talk about, there was 3 firefighters who were injured, one was in serious, can you give us a little bit more?
No, I don't have a whole lot on that right now, but he is being treated. He is being treated. They're all in fair to serious condition.
Mariano, Univision.
Mayor, after 4 years in government, would you say this is the worst part of being a mayor? And what advice would you give to Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson?
On topic only. Mariano, thank you.
They're fair questions. I'll take them. Look, as a human being, having to call a family and offer words of condolence that you know really are going to do very little for the broken hearts and the grief that they're facing, those are tough moments. And I would just say to Mayor-elect Johnson, and I will share this with him when we have more time to talk, be humble, be grateful. Our first responders literally give their lives. There's a lot of rhetoric that's out there about first responders, particularly on the police side. when you've seen what I've seen, when you have to make the calls that I've had to make, you better be humble and you better be grateful. It's hard to motivate people when they don't think that their leader has their back. And it's absolutely essential. It's why I go to roll calls. It's why I reach out. And we may not agree on every issue, but I thank the Lord every single day for the first responders, the firemen, the police officers, the 911 call takers and dispatchers. They experience trauma that none of us will see in a lifetime. They may experience it on a single day, a single call for service. So we need to be grateful that we have young men and women that are still, in this time, willing to step up and say, I will serve. Call on me.
Suzanne, CBS.
Commissioner Nance called two-part question regarding sprinklers. Was there a sprinkler system? Was it working? And we were told that there's a water tank in the building, but that may have not been working. So does that mean that there was no method for water to get to a sprinkler system if it was there?
I don't think that building was sprinklered. I have fire prevention here. It wasn't. Just the garage was sprinklered. And I don't know about a water tank issue. I can't answer that. They don't have sprinklers in the high rise. It's not a sprinkled building, right?
Then one quick follow-up. Did the elevators work?
We lost the elevators. Once the water goes down the elevators, we lose them. The elevator repairman came in, but he was unable to repair them. I was there talking to him. He couldn't repair them. So the only other way was to use the other bank of elevators, which wouldn't reach where you needed to go. So they had to go up every flight of stairs from 1 to 27 to fight the fire.
Christine, WGN.
Talking about the impact that this now had on the rest of the building, are people able to go back in, and where does that stand?
Can you answer that? Oh, right now, when I left the scene. I didn't find out about that. I had to rush to the hospital, to be honest. It's up to the building. Once they turn the building back over to the building management to make that determination along with the building department. That's not up to us.
I think that process is ongoing.
Yeah.
Colin Blackwell.
Yes, hi. Should the building have had better protection? I know it's an older building. Is there a way that's prevented that way?
I can't Monday morning quarterback. I told you I don't do that. I don't live in the past like that. It's what we do going forward.
Tribune.
Do you know which units were affected?
Just one unit on the 27th floor. These are very large units. So that's the one we fought the fire in. And the wind didn't help us at all either. It's a wind-driven fire.
Sorry. Was the unit 27 CN?
I don't have the unit number.
Thank you very much, everyone. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, tragic situation once again in Chicago. The second firefighter to die in just 2 days there. Very hard for the department there, and we were hearing it from the Chicago Fire Superintendent as well as the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, talking about the situation of a Chicago firefighter, a veteran, a man who is 55 years old, collapsed on the 27th floor there trying to battle that fire. And firefighters were forced to take the stairs after the initial fire response there disabled the elevators in that apartment condo building. You're watching Live Now from Fox, everyone. We're going to take our first break here of this hour. Stay right here with us.